Well, in early 2015, the City Council of Seattle passed what it called a gun violence tax. The tax imposed a $25 levy on every gun purchased in the city, along with a 5-cent tax on every individual round of ammunition. It worked in one way. A lot of gun sellers have fled the city for the suburbs. People lost their jobs. Did it work in the intended way? It was designed to make Seattle safer. That didn't happen. Shootings are up significantly this year. Murders have doubled. Will the city reconsider its tax?
Seattle's gun tax backfires in the worst way possible. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And let's talk about this. Now, Seattle, Washington, 2015, I believe, they passed what they called a gun tax. And basically it's a $25 levy on any business that sells firearms for each firearm sold at retail within the city limits, and also a tax on ammunition where it was basically a 2-cent per round for 22 ammunition and 5 cents per round for centerfire. And the claim was, of course, they were going to raise millions of dollars to allegedly combat gun violence. Well, exactly what you think would happen has actually happened. And what people are doing is they're just not buying their firearms and ammunition in the city limits. So I'm going to come over here. This is from the NRA. And the Seattle's gun tax, a textbook case on the law of inverse consequences. The law of inverse or unintended consequences refers to outcomes that are reverse of the planned or expected results. I don't honestly think it's an expected result. I think they try to put more pressure on the gun businesses in the city to force them to move out. I think that's ultimately what the goal is with these things. But as described in another context, the law of unintended consequences could create a perverse effect contrary to what was originally intended and ultimately making the problem worse. But I already told you about that. City of Seattle, what they did, they put taxes on firearms, retail sell firearms, and ammunition. But at the time the ordinance was passed, the city budget office estimated that the gun tax would generate revenue of between $300,000 and $500,000 a year. Now, I'm going to come down to the reality. Okay? This is actually what they collected. According to one source, the first year of gun tax collection yielded just $103,766, and then $93,220 for 2017, $77,518 for 2018, $85,352 for 2019. As you can see, it's not even close to the $500,000 they claimed they would get, and it's steadily been fluctuating down. But to get the full financial impact of the gun tax through Seattle's extreme overestimates have been viewed in the larger context of actual lost revenues. At the time the gun tax was proposed, the proprietor of one of Seattle's gun stores described what he called the city's grossly unsound reasoning and revenue projections. Seattle, he added, had only 2 dedicated gun stores, plus a few big box stores and pawn shops, but had plenty more located a short way out of the city. Rather than just tighten the belt and hand over the money, consumers would shop elsewhere, which means they leave the city of Seattle and go out to the outer, just outside the city limits and not have to pay the tax. Because the tax is being passed down to them. The retailers don't have enough profit margin or markup to cover that. But Seattle gun stores would simply go out of business. The result, no gun tax income, and the city would lose the sales tax, other revenue, and jobs the businesses have been generating until then. In this case, because he moved his business, and this is one of the biggest stores, out to the suburbs outside of Seattle when the gun tax was passed, Seattle lost close to $64,000 in sales tax, and that his business paid in his new location in 2017. Another large gun retailer, the owner of Seattle's Outdoor Emporium, was interviewed in late 2016 and blamed the gun tax for his $2 million hit in lost sales, a 32% drop in his consumer count, an estimated $600,000 loss of potential sales tax due to his plummeting sales. If these figures are accurate, Seattle accomplished the unbelievable financial equivalent of cutting off its nose to spite his face by collecting in 2016 a little over $100,000 in gun tax revenue, but losing at least 7 times as much in sales tax dollars alone. Driving these figures even further into the red, in 2017, the city reportedly spent more on defending a failed lawsuit on the tax over its refusal to disclose the 2016 revenue collected that it attained from year in total gun tax income. But here's the problem. When the city of Seattle goes to court, they use the taxpayers' money. So as far as they're concerned, they didn't lose anything. The taxpayers lost out on both ends. But so I want to come out of that. And that's the unintended consequence. What is going to happen? It's the same thing Connecticut trying to pass a ammo tax. What do you think is going to happen? People are just going to go, yeah, okay. And they're going to go out of state, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Vermont, buy their ammo, bring it back en masse, and they're not that far away. What, Pennsylvania, you could get there, what, two hours to a gun store right across the border? But this will be the unintended consequences if Connecticut attempts to go down here. And Seattle, obviously, is having their issues with it. But we have to, once again, be vigilant. Because in the end, I'm in my opinion, I don't feel that this ammo tax was about necessarily raising revenue. I think it was to put the squeeze on the gun stores within the city to force them to move out. And we've kind of seen that before. Chicago wouldn't allow a gun store to operate within the city limits until I believe they got sued and they lost. But once again, another story that just shows you the idiocy of specific groups of people. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.